Hey guys, and thanks for joining us again for another episode of UHS Presents. I am joined, as always, by my faithful co-host, Lori Foster. Hello, Lori.
Hey.
And today we are talking about kaiju, and who else would we bring to this conversation except Matt Kaiju King Frank? Heyo.
Hi, how you doing? I should have been in a full suit and tie.
Oh shit, yes.
Yeah.
But I gotta represent. As though I don't already do that. Okay.
Next time. All right. Next.
It was me all along.
We have our good friend Mike Watson joining us today to talk about monsters. Hey there, Mike. You is muted, my friend. You're muted.
Damn it!
There you go.
I didn't bring no Godzilla mask, but I brought thumbs like King motherfucking Kong.
All right, and today joining us for the first time on UHS Presents, we have Maddox.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Super excited. Hell yeah, I feel like I'm amongst my peers.
Awesome.
It's been such a struggle explaining to like girls on dates like how cool Godzilla is. They're like, wait, what do you like about him? I'm like, just really big.
Oh, there's this, and there's this, and there's this thing, and there's this.
Sweet. Well, I actually don't know very much at all about Kong or Godzilla, so I'm gonna get an education today. And
Woo,
Matt, don't look at me like that, Matt. You were supposed to send me a list of movies, remember?
Oh, was I?
You were.
I'm sorry. I
You
just
forgot
had.
and I forgot, so it's all good.
I have had five separate deadlines through the month of March, and I'm currently have 2 more that are due by Wednesday. So
All right, I'll forgive you this time, but don't let it happen again.
I won't.
Well, we got Jeff is over on Twitch saying pipe. And
Yeah.
Dirk is on Facebook, said hello, and Katie said hello. So we got people watching us now. So let's get in. Let's talk about first, like the new movie. Like, what do you guys? How excited are you guys for the new movie?
I wasn't sure who was going to say anything first, but I am super excited for this movie with a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of trepidation because it seems like based on the trailers I've seen, they're kind of painting Godzilla as an antagonist and Kong as like the good guy, which is dumb as hell. Godzilla is going to sweep the floor with Kong. I realized the other day.
Stop disrespecting him.
Oh, we got a Kong boy in the room. All right, here we go. It's on. I've spent so much of my, I swear to God, the last month and a half, 2 months, I've spent a significant amount of time doing nothing but roasting King Kong. I wake up in the middle of the night and think of another one. I'm like, yeah, that fucker. Take that.
They're my beautiful, terrible children. We don't need to fight each other. They're fighting. They're already fighting each other themselves. We don't have to fight. We can like them all. Look at them. Look at the conky dong and the lizard boy. I mean, the thing is that I recently sat down. Hold on, Jesus Christ. I recently sat down and I rewatched the original. And which is amazing, specifically because, and I don't think they're going to do this in the new movie, but the original is a comedy. It is a satire. You watch the American version with the dub and everything. They've added in American actors and stuff. It's fine. It's fun, but they rewrote it to kind of be played straight. But then you watch the Japanese version, and there's all these jokes about the Japanese entertainment industry and Japanese marketing, and people are taking bets on who's going to win. And the whole movie, Kong is still the underdog. He is not as strong as Godzilla through most of the movie. So it's sort of like a Rocky situation.
Now, you're talking about the original, right? The original Kong versus Godzilla?
And that's kind of how they're doing it for the new one too. They're kind of positioning it to where Kong's a little bit of the underdog. He's not strong enough to beat Godzilla on his own.
Yeah, I'll say.
All right, so let's get real about this. All right, look, this movie, all it needs to do is be a great popcorn flick. I need a really good fight. I need a decent reason for their fight. But we already know what's going to happen, man. We may not know who's going to win, but yes, they are building up Godzilla to be the bad guy. But that's only because Godzilla doesn't realize what's going on. He's being distracted. He senses danger. Enter the Mechagodzilla that was revealed in the trailer, and then they're going to combine forces and beat that robot's ass. But there will be a definitive winner. And I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all disrespect my apist friend again on this stream after Kong Skull Island, it's going to be a problem. Your boy makes weapons. You can actually see his head thinking about how can I fuck something up. Oh, there it goes. That's a chain. And those are some really sharp-ass blades. Combo! Look, he's just a mountain of power. I'm not saying Kong is going to beat his ass. I'm not saying this is going to be a one-sided fight. This is going to be a slobber knocker, people. But what it's going to come down to is thumbs and a King Kong brain. He already has an axe.
Compelling argument. Really.
It's not unfounded because see the thing is I like my Godzilla to be the bad guy. It's and bad guy is such a reductive term, art of cinema. The idea is that Godzilla just doesn't care. Like that's the thing I kind of didn't like about the last two Godzilla movies is that they're like, oh, he's a force of balance. Oh, he's flippity flabbity flu. Meanwhile, I go and I ask my Japanese friends about that, and they're like, what is this balance crap? He's an agent of chaos. He was created by the atom bomb. He's death and destruction in they call him like King of the Monsters in America. In Japan, he's called Hakaishin, which means God of Destruction. It's literally, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. You can't reconcile him being the embodiment of the atom bomb and then be like, oh, but it's the balance of nature. It's just like, I don't know. And then I have more opinions about this whole Mothra-Godzilla relationship they keep trying to push, but I can come back around to that later.
Yeah, so Godzilla.
My Mothra.
So Godzilla is known as the god of destruction. Mike, what's King Kong known as the god of?
God of whooping ass. he's the Kratos.
His followers are in a cult. He's literally like a cult leader. On Skull Island, those like bozos are worshiping him because they're afraid he's going to kill them. Like talk about he's psychologically manipulative. That's what Kong is. He's abusive. There's an abusive relationship with Kong. Godzilla doesn't get at least he's honest.
You acknowledge the brain power of the Kong.
Brain power.
This dude is out here franchising his brand.
Yeah, he's going to franchise getting his face pounded.
Right.
I like what Matt's saying because I feel like I do enjoy the new Godzilla movies. I do. I like them. I like them a lot. But that whole like balance shit, that's all like some soft American shit.
Yeah.
All the movies I've seen of Godzilla, he is a force of destruction. He is a reckoning. And like that's just Americans trying not to make it look like atom bombs were never used.
Thank you. Because it drives me up a wall that they keep trying to do okay. Because it's like even going back to the 1998 French, the one they made with Matthew Broderick, they literally were like, oh no, it wasn't American nuclear testing, it was the French. like Godzilla was literally inspired not just by Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was inspired by American nuclear tests that Japanese fishing boats got caught in. Like, it's like, it's like if either, okay, I have a lot of thoughts.
I love it.
Hang on a second. We want to catch up with some comments because we got a bunch of people in here. We got Mr. Watson here trying to start shit in chat. Because Dirk is jumping in here with that Mike said Kong will crush. Dirk says no, he will not, and he used all caps for that one. He said, Godzilla is the Tom Brady of the kaiju and will deflate whatever he needs to win.
Not Tom Brady. No, you will not cross-reference.
So, Steve Walker M. Florgo says hi. Hi, Steve.
Woo! And Florgo.
Let's see. Katie says you cannot underestimate the opposable thumbs.
You cannot.
Godzilla's kind of got thumbs.
You can't argue with that. You really can't. Let's see here.
Does Godzilla actually not have thumbs?
He
Like,
does.
Can we
He's got
confirm
little,
that?
He has
got
like little claw thumbs, doesn't he? Like
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can gouge your eyes out with them. That's what he can do with those thumbs.
He
But
can't.
because he's not because he's not. Well, he does. You have some limited tool usage in the older movies. I mean, he throws rocks sometimes.
So he's a hobbit. You're saying he's a one-off of a hobbit.
Well, he doesn't need to. It's like whenever people talk about like T-Rex and how the T-Rex, oh, he's got such little arms. It's like you don't need big arms when you have a head the size of a Volkswagen and jaws that can crush bone.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
what
That guy-
T-Rex going to do with bigger arms? It's
Yeah, that
not going to
guy's-
write a great American novel with its tiny arms. Like,
That guy skipped arm day. He's all jaw day.
yes, he's there going. I don't know. I got my rep for both camps over here. I've got my fiery chili chipotle Godzilla candy bar,
Ooh.
and I just got these today. My banana caramel Kit Kat bars from Japan.
Oh,
Wow.
great.
I'm
we
ready.
have those here. That sounds amazing. Banana caramel. That sounds amazing.
I miss Japanese snacks so much because that's what I used to do. Is I used to stop at the airport, and they would have piles of them. They'd have green tea Kit Kat bars, strawberry Kit Kat bars, banana caramel Kit Kat bars, real weird stuff like apple fritter Kit Kat bars. Like,
I think they might have the apple fritter ones here now, but yeah, like
sake
banana
flavor.
caramel.
Mike, we have some more people you're going to have to defend Kong against. Dirk says King Kong is the kind of guy that takes his date on an Uber ride and expects her to pay.
Yeah. Now I'm coming around to Kong.
Hey, we're not gonna stand for these comments. Number one, Kong's a king. Number two, he treats ladies nice. How many movies have you seen that he fights for women rights?
He's a kidnapper. He kidnaps women. He's a kidnapper. He's the creepiest dude. Kong is the creepiest dude.
Dude,
Huh? Lori, Sarah, you guys could, if a guy kidnapped you and took you up a building, would you be like, ooh, I like this guy? No. Godzilla doesn't kidnap.
sir, that is a simple communication error. He
I'd
asked her if she wanted to go up to the top
than
to see
though.
the heights, and he didn't understand her language. He thought that meant yes, and he took her up. He was so gentle. There was no pushing, there was no shoving. She didn't scream. She wanted
He
to go
picked her
up
up by her entire torso, dude.
What's
not-
the Godzilla alternative to being kidnapped? Like, is Godzilla just gonna eat me? Because I'd rather be kidnapped than eat.
Godzilla does not eat people, but if you get in like 20 feet of him, you'll get cancer. Because he is,
I'd rather be kidnapped.
aggressively radioactive.
Okay, so you're telling me Godzilla is kin to the hobbits. He is the god of destruction. His arms are tiny, and I can't even get close enough with him to attempt to form a bonding relationship that I have seen in several King Kong movies?
Yeah, you can't get close to Godzilla. First of all, if Godzilla was actually fighting Kong, he would just have to just stand next to him long enough to give him radiation, like radiation poisoning. He'll get cancer by just hanging out with Godzilla. That's how badass Godzilla is. He doesn't even have to throw a punch. That's cool.
They have officially listed that one of Kong's powers in the new movie is resistance to radiation.
What did they really?
Seriously?
Yeah, it's in on one of the tweets. Yeah, they like
Oh,
no.
it's bullshit.
Hold on.
What? I love it.
According to the Godzilla vs. Kong guide from Hollywood Spotlight, there it is. Kong, resistant to atomic breath, physical strength, radioactive immunity, durability, and electrical absorption. Quick learner, intelligence, stamina, heightened sense of speed, and agility. But Godzilla, atomic breath, nuclear pulse, energy absorption and projection, resistant to injury, ability to regenerate, ability to stay underwater indefinitely, strong sense of hearing, and good swimmer. So anyway,
Matt, I'm liking both these guys. This Maddox and this Matt guy that you guys have introduced me to tonight. These are good guys here. I like this discussion. So I just love how that magazine immediately took away half the people's argument that I've been having online with the atomic breath and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind. I think it's a little too far to say that he's immune to atomic breath, because I love how they used his act, how he used, and that's what I'm saying, man. You're gonna get a lot of clever things from King Kong. The fact that he tore off one of Godzilla's dorsal fins and used it to block the atomic breath, like that still gives me a sense of danger that it can mess him up. But he got smart enough to learn to be able to defend it. But he should still be able to get caught slipping with it, though. Like, I don't think he should be immune to that.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about. I think the last time I saw the metrics on what Godzilla's what the official metrics are on the heat from his atomic breath, it's like hotter than the surface of the sun. Ooh. Pretty sure Kong isn't going to be able to stand up to that.
Right. Yeah. Look, I don't have any. I want Kong to win. That's whose corner I'm in. But I can be unbiased. Like, that's ridiculous. He should die.
Mike, have you seen the original like 1960, 62, I think, the Kong versus Godzilla? You saw the original one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I, along with most people, thought that there was two endings to that movie, like the Japanese one, Godzilla one, and the American one, King Kong one. That's not true. It's just King Kong. King Kong always wins. And they gave him the most bullshit, hackneyed, like MacGuffin, like, oh, now King Kong is powered by lightning. Well, since when is King Kong powered by lightning? That never happened. That has never happened.
It's been a while. I thought Godzilla won in that one, from what I remember.
No. King Kong won.
They wanted it to be an underdog story. They wanted to be Kong, like, you know, training and getting like a shonen Super Saiyan style power up at the end. The reason he had this lightning powers was, one, they had to give him something to even the playing field with Godzilla. And Godzilla's had like mild weakness to radiation, to electricity. But the real reason is because the original pitch for the movie was supposed to be King Kong versus Frankenstein.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Willis O'Brien, Obi, he was the guy who did the effects in the original Kong. He pioneered stop motion animation. He put together a pitch where a descendant of the original Dr. Frankenstein creates like a giant Frankenstein monster out of like sewn together animals. And then Kong and this Frankenstein monster fight in San Francisco. But because that is expensive, to do a stop motion animated movie in the 60s, 50s or 60s, he sold the concept to a guy who then turned around and sold it to Toho. Toho then took it and split it into two movies. They made King Kong versus Godzilla because they were like, that'll make a lot of money. And then they made their own Frankenstein movie about a giant Frankenstein fighting a dinosaur. So it's a wacky world.
I'm glad I know nothing about that.
Oh.
We do have some more.
We got to catch up on comments here.
Yeah, y'all have some
a lot to
questions.
say here. A lot to say. Let's see. Where are you at, Laurie?
I was going to go from Alan. Alan
Okay.
says, Kong strikes me as the type that as soon as he started losing at Monopoly would flip the board and walk away in a huff.
So you're doing nothing.
I do that.
Yeah,
Whenever-
any regular human does that.
Dirk says, "Bro, have you seen the allegations against King Kong by numerous kidnapped babes?" J-Man says, "What's up, Mike?" and Unlikely Heroes. Stephen Lightman says, "Hello, hello, hello." Let's see.
Caston has a comment here. It looks like maybe a pro Kong thing here. Says, how is Kong picking her up without consent any different than all the Disney princess movies? At least Kong can learn Godzilla is just a lizard.
Oh,
You're starting to shit in a happy workplace environment here.
Oh no.
Okay, first of all, learning is for idiots. Godzilla doesn't need to learn anything. Godzilla doesn't learn. Godzilla teaches. All right, that's why.
I like that rebuttal. I like that.
Oh, well.
Dirk says, how many kaiju has Godzilla saved the humans from compared to Kong?
Oh, good question.
Got what? Hold up. So you're saying Kong don't save nobody?
No, Kong has to be bribed with a bunch of liquor and prayers and worship, and then like he might deign to come down and smash a spider. Cool.
Are you serious?
Wow, cool God you got there.
Kong has protected that entire island out of a sense of duty and responsibility.
It's a lost island. No one even knows it's there. Like, what's he protecting?
The people that are there. The people. Yeah. And, oh my goodness, Kong is for the disabled. Those people can't speak, and he's on their side. You're talking about a monkey who is a champion of the people.
And
Mike's voice is raised like 5 octaves. Did you hear that?
Well, if he's such a champion of the disabled, then why can't he take after Coco and learn sign language? That's the one.
He does in the new movie.
Does
he is in the new movie.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I love it. But like, all right.
KLR Wildlife says, would Godzilla have a bite that causes sepsis like a Komodo dragon? Worse, causes cancer.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. That is true. I can give you that. So, what are y'all's expectations for this movie? All right, let me rephrase it. How will this movie be a win for you? No matter who wins or loses, because the director does say there is a definitive winner and loser. But how will this movie, what has to happen in this movie for it to be a good movie for you? Take out your personal victory, who you want to win, just the movie as a whole.
I mean, this is kind of complicated, but I'll try to make it quick. See, the thing is that it's a really tricky balancing act when you have you're trying to balance your narrative, your human story with your kaiju stuff. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the older Godzilla movies were really good at that. They were really good at balancing that stuff out. And then as time kind of went on, it's like the human stuff started, it felt like almost like a given, like, oh, well, the human story doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, of course it matters. It's the thing driving the narrative. But that's not to say you can't have a very simple, streamlined human narrative that serves to push the monster stuff forward. And that's what I'm hoping for. Something that's just it's simple, and it just kind of moves things along. Like Rampage was a good example of that. I thought Rampage was a lot of fun. It didn't get bogged down in the details. By comparison, although I like King of the Monsters as a Godzilla fan, the most recent Godzilla movie, I felt like the human story was all over the place in that movie. Yeah. Like, you got this whole thing with Kyle Chandler being like his PhD in wolf listening is gonna do something, and the eco-terrorist plot, like, they ceased to be a factor after Ghidorah wakes up. Like, that whole subplot suddenly became pointless. Yeah. So there's a balancing act, and then you've got stuff like Colossal, or the original Godzilla, which has a really integrated, really good human-centric story, where the monster stuff serves the human story. So I feel like there's a balance to be met. I'm hoping that the new movie is going to be more of like, let's just have fun. Let's not get bogged down in this stuff. Let's not think too hard about this. And don't be bad, have some standards.
Yeah.
I think so. How I'll know this is going to be a good movie is if it gets the critics start panning it for not having enough of a human element, which is something that they criticized the most recent Godzilla movie for. They're like, "Oh, but there's barely any human story." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm all in. This is great." Like I do identify more with the monsters. I don't know how to explain it, but like I see Godzilla, and I know he's coming. It's a Godzilla movie, and I always expect it. And every time I see him, I'm like, "There's the big boy." I'm so excited to see that guy because he's going to come in. He's going to stomp everything around. I don't really care about the human element. Although I will say this, Matt, in the movies that it does exist and they do it well, it's really done well. Like, for example, Shin Godzilla. For those of you who are like new to Godzilla films, you want to get introduced, you want to join the winning team, watch Shin Godzilla, because like Godzilla's already like super badass, and you're thinking, wow, how can they make him more badass? And then they do, and then you're like, okay, there's no way they can make him more badass. And then guess what? Boom, motherfucker, more badass. And then and the other Godzilla movie I really like is the one from the late 50s, early 60s. Godzilla vs. Monster Zero is such a good story. It's a really good story. It's like it's a perfectly told sci-fi movie, and it's sampled in every like hip hop song. So
yeah, I feel like that's a really good analysis, and you just reminded me, Maddox, because the list that I was writing for Sarah of recommended kaiju viewing, I did finish that list. I just posted it in a Discord chat and forgot to email it to her. So I've got to go back and dig that up. But yeah. I mean, Shin Godzilla, but it's so funny because Shin Godzilla is one of those movies where some people will argue that it's a bad human story because the characters don't grow or change or develop. But that's also discounting the fact that there's this thing called a flat character arc, which is where a character enters the movie and leaves the movie the same way. You know what other movie does that? Ghostbusters. None of those characters change or develop. Mm-hmm. And Shin Godzilla is about a bunch of adults trying to do their jobs when a monster shows up.
Yeah.
And instead of like there being some subplot about like, I missed my son's baseball game because there was a lizard. And just like, and I'm not saying that stuff has no place in a kaiju narrative, but you've got to find a way to make it work instead of like cramming it in. Yeah. Like in King of the Monsters, where it's like, well, we lost our son in the first Godzilla attack, and then I started drinking, and I'm like, you've told the story twice already. Just, I don't know. But I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. And,
I'm pretty much on the same page with that. Like, I can care two shits less about humans in a Godzilla and King Kong movie. So Godzilla, the first one, I was really excited because Bryan Cranston was in it, and I loved his element. I do think they weaved the humanity in that one good. But King of Monsters, they absolutely love me. I do not care about two divorced parents fighting over a child that they can't keep fucking track of, who's running all around and out sneaking secret terrorist agents. Miss me with all that. Then you get God's King Kong, Skull Island, and I'm like, yes. That is the blend of humanity that I want to hear. Some fun characters. They start off with their tropes, but then they add a bit of humanity to them. We get some great one-liners. The reason for them being where they are and what's happening is simple enough to where I buy it. I don't have to question it. I can just go on the ride. So that's all I'm asking for. Just take me on the ride. It's King Kong and Godzilla, not King Kong and Godzilla guided by the humans in this world. I don't need that. Just give me my reason why they're fighting. Make it make sense, because I will not be looking through with a microscope to find plot holes. I need the reasons for these two people to be punching each other in the face.
And it seems like that's what the story is going to be. It seems like the characters are there to simply explain what's happening, because literally they gave Kong a little girl who can sign for Kong, so we know what he's thinking. Like, I feel like that's how you, if you're going to have a bare bones human plot, that's how you do it. But I imagine we probably have questions backing up a little bit.
I I have to say something though, Mike. I have never heard you drop the F-bomb as many times as you have today.
It's a King Kong and Godzilla discussion, and like, dude, I'm getting so tired of just the arguments. They're just dissing my boy Kong. I get it. Godzilla is a force to be reckoned with. He is a mountain of just power, and I love how Maddox and Matt are like clearly explaining the differences in the different versions of Godzilla. I'm over here arguing with people who all think this is the same damn Godzilla. It's not.
Right.
It is not. Like, you're mixing power types from another movie with this Godzilla, and you can't argue if you're not going to get the right types right.
I'm in complete agreement. I've like argued with people until I'm blue in the face about this stuff. They're like, "How is Kong gonna beat Godzilla? He's only like this big compared to him." And I'm like, "It's a different version of Kong."
Dude, when that trailer came out, that's what everybody said, and I'm like, "Did y'all not watch the fucking movie? They clearly say when this movie takes place. This is like 70 years later. He was a child in that movie."
It's not about.
They say.
Not me. When that trailer came out, I went right below the belt. I was like, oh yeah, probably the hardest CG they had to do in that movie was removing the apple box from every shot with King Kong in it.
Oh damn. I mean that's the thing is like it's the people get argument, they argue stuff like that not because it's about the facts of the movie. They want to be funny and they want to sound smart.
Yeah.
You know? And then I remember then I got into an argument with someone about the original King Kong versus Godzilla, and somebody was saying like, what is this stupid shit? Like the new movie's going to be so much better than this. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, so what? And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, first of all, you know, and that's where I start to get my heckles up because I see people disrespecting the original, and it's like, okay, and they're all like, these people clearly don't know how to make a movie, and I'm like, all right, let's put you in a 150-pound latex costume and fire bottle rockets at you and see how you like it, because I tried on a monster suit late 2019. I went to visit a friend in Japan, and he had just filmed his own independent monster movie, and fun connection. He got for supervising the construction of this monster suit. He got the guy who supervised who constructed the original King Kong suit from King Kong versus Godzilla.
Wow.
Yeah, guy's like 86 years old. And he's just like, well, the mouth really should be on a hinge like this. And I'm like, all right. But they busted out this monster suit, and I'm like, can I get in it? Can I try it out? And they're like, yeah, man, your funeral. And I climbed into it, and immediately claustrophobia. I'm like, I cannot see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but once I can move my arms a little bit, move my arms, my legs, I'm like, okay, I get this. Then they started trying to put the back on the suit in order to seal me in, and I'm like, nope, tap it out. And there's a picture or video out there somewhere of my arm sticking out of the monster's back. It's like, no. But anyway,
yeah, those movies, like, you know, the actors almost require an amount of athleticism to them because, like, in different suits, the technology progressed. I think they made one of the original ones with just pure latex, and it was so heavy and so inflexible. And then they found some other material, and it was porous. And if you've seen any old Godzilla movies or even the new ones, he gets in water a lot. Mm-hmm. And every time you put these poor actors in water, the suit starts to get waterlogged. And so now you're already carrying this really heavy suit that's like, you know, pushing 100 pounds plus the water weight. So almost like the slow prodding nature of Godzilla. Plus he's being attacked by little helicopters shooting fireworks at him. So You're sitting there choking on smoke. It's hot in the suit. You might drown. It's an insane process, like shooting these movies. And I didn't even appreciate that until we started like looking into the history of these Godzilla suits and these actors who played these important roles.
Yeah.
And did the Oscars recognize their contribution to film? No.
You know, in fairness, Haruo Nakajima was the guy who originally played Godzilla, and he played Kong in one of the Japanese movies. He did get a nod the year he passed for the Oscars. They did a like the who we lost this year kind of thing, and he got his name put up there, and that was nice. But Max has got it. Like the original suit was poured concrete. It was like concrete latex mix for the suit. So yeah, it was. It wasn't until later they were like, can we find a lighter material? Because we could not move in this thing. But yeah.
Yeah, it was. The other thing, the other fact I learned most recently is I went back with on our Godzilla podcast, Godzilla versus Monster Zero. If you guys are like fans of Godzilla, or I'm sorry, Podcast versus Monster Zero is the name of the podcast. But we went back and watched the 1998 Godzilla to see if it was as bad as we remember. It absolutely is. But also we learned some trivia about it. The guy when who's the director?
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, Emmerich, because he was hot off the heels of ID4, Independence Day, and went to Japan. They were like he was going to pitch them the design for Godzilla. So he made a scale model of the Godzilla from the movie and had it in the Toho studios to show to the executives, and it was draped in silk. And he kind of gave this speech about Godzilla and his interpretation and whatever. So he's ready to show them the new Godzilla design for the first time ever, and it's identical to the one that's in the movie. He takes the silk off, and there was silence in the room for about 2 minutes. Not a single word from the Toho executives, and they just stared at this thing. And the Toho executives only had one note for him. They said, just make sure Godzilla has 4 toes. That was the only note they gave him. He gave Godzilla 3 toes in that movie.
Oh, you see?
That's holding it up. Yeah.
Hold on. But yeah, that movie is has a quite a history to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They asked for one thing, one little thing, and he couldn't give it to them.
Well, it was. They were more like, well, we could either. At that point, Emmerich and the team at TriStar told them like it's this or nothing, like this is the design, and Toho was like, well, either we tell them no, or we tell them no and miss out on millions of dollars in advertising and merchandising. Like it's just you're kind of in a catch-22 at that point, which sucks, but
I dig it. Well, I am sad, but I have to bounce. Get ready to do some other stuff. I would like to say I enjoyed this very much. It's nice to meet Matt and Maddox. This is I can continue to discuss and argue with these gentlemen and still come out smiling. Like
Mike, anytime. I'd love to do it again.
Like, yeah. I obviously know so much more about it than I do. So what'd you say, Sarah?
Maybe we'll have to do a part 2, like after everybody's had a chance to watch the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's.
In a month. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys and your knowledge. Thank you for having me on here, Sarah and Lori. You guys have fun. But I guess I'm the only person defending Kong. So chat, I need you to stand up for the ape, while the rest of this goes on. Challenge these young men and whatever they say.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Mike.
So picking up the baton here, J-Man in the chat says, Kong might be from Skull Island, but King Kong represents the United States. He climbed the top of the Empire State Building. It's iconic.
That is very true. Katie over on Twitch, I think she's pointing out that the librarian from Discworld would, in fact, defend Kong because she said Kong. Every time someone calls Kong a monkey and not an ape, I picture the librarian from Discworld books going ape shit. And apparently, I haven't read the Discworld books. Katie's been pushing them to me for ages, and I keep not doing it, and I don't know why because I know they're amazing books. But anyway, she says the librarian was turned into orangutan in a magical incident and has views if people don't call him an ape.
Amazing. Well, I mean, that was the whole thing back in 2005 when the Peter Jackson King Kong came out. And that was the thing that everyone was saying. It was like, he's not a monkey, he's an ape. And I'm just like, no, I'm in agreement. But the thing is that the current, like the new Kong, he's so far removed from any existing primates or monkeys or anything. He's like, so at this point I was just like, hey, I call him a monkey the same way I call Godzilla a lizard. Like, it's not meant to be derogatory. It's just more fun to say that.
It would be more appropriate to call a monkey an ape than to call King Kong a monkey, though, wouldn't it? Like, why do we call all apes monkeys instead of calling them all apes?
Well, no, because apes and monkeys are two different families.
Are they?
Yeah, monkeys have tails, apes don't.
I went to a small farming community school, so
that's okay. I learned this on the internet. I learned this on the King Kong forums. So
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
So, would you guys agree that King Kong represents the United States?
Purely from a like East versus West, Godzilla versus King Kong way. I mean, there's some that have argued that Kong represents what's the word I'm looking for? The movie specifically is like the story of Western expansion and imperialism, like just a bunch of white folks showing up on a shoreline and being like, well, this is all ours now. It's like, we live here. We have a god. He'll eat you.
It feels like Kong is more like a Pacific Island type kaiju, and then like he was brought to America. I guess Kong was kidnapped. So Kong kidnapped, and then Kong was kidnapped. That's some immediate karma. So like, yeah, how do you feel, bitch? And then he like tried to escape up the tallest dead end in the world is the Empire State Building. That's the dumbest move. Oh, I'm gonna climb up. Where are you gonna go from there, idiot? What are you gonna jump down? You're not Spider-Man.
In Kong's defense. See, I guess I have to take Mike's role.
Now you have to play devil's advocate.
I love them both. They're both my children. But in Kong's defense, on his island, the highest point was the safest point. The Rexes, the Tyrannosaurs couldn't follow him up there. Their dinosaurs couldn't follow him. The only thing that were kind of up there were pteranodons and like bats, or the giant bats or whatever. And he just snapped their necks. So they didn't have guns on Skull Island.
I guess he was up against his match, which is a World War II era biplane with one gun on it.
Did y'all play the King Kong video game they put out back in like 2005?
No, was it cool?
It's really good. It's like shockingly good because it's like it's like most of it is a first person survival horror game because you're Adrian Brody's character running around on Skull Island trying not to get eaten. You mostly have like spears or shards of bone, and occasionally you'll find a gun that a guy in a seaplane will drop, and you'll be like, okay, thank God I have a gun. Oh, I have like 4 bullets in this. Great. But then every every couple of hours of gameplay, it'll switch, and you can play as Kong, and you can snap Tyrannosaurus necks and stuff.
That sounds awesome.
That actually sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Very good. I loved it. But at the very end, there's an unlockable ending where you can pilot a biplane and you can save Kong. You can shoot down the other biplanes and save them.
So you become like a species trader? Like you're just you've turned on your own species?
Well, in that version of the story, Kong is really kind of a victim. Like he's kind of. Yeah, he's kind of treated like shit in all the movies.
Yeah, but again, it's after a life of being pampered and worshipped. Like, I don't feel too bad for that guy. You know, like he's been worshipped for most of his life. Like, just chill, dude.
I feel like that's a strong choice of words because he's pampered and worshipped by a bunch of people who are afraid of him. And apes are social creatures. So I remember there's a really cool novel called like Kong of Skull Island or something. It's a novel. It's sort of a semi-sequel to the original. And Carl Denham and some of the characters from the original movie go back to Skull Island with this like I don't remember what their plan was. I don't remember what the plan was, but they go back to Skull Island and they learn about the history of the island and what happened to Kong's species and how they all got wiped out over a long period of time. And the big thing they said was like all the maidens that were sacrificed to Kong, he like didn't want to hurt them or anything. He just was lonely. So he takes them back to his lair and they either like get eaten by wild animals or they die of fright or something because they're so scared of him. And it's so sad. It's so sad.
Incel. If Kong had any more brains, he'd be a school shooter.
Oh, come on.
That's it. I went there to end the stream.
God damn. Not in America.
Banned from Facebook.
Kong is a school shooter and the
That's the
stream.
most American thing a kaiju could do.
Oh,
Man.
harsh, but kind of true.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you, man, but we gotta have fun here.
Caston in the chat room says, "Damn, Maddox, you're just full of hate."
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff over on Twitch wants to know what system that game is on.
Oh, it's for everything. It came out in 2005, so it was like PS2, GameCube, Xbox 360, PC. Like it was that era. It was like I had it for GameCube, so I can play it on my Wii.
I missed this. It sounds awesome. By the way, I really liked the Peter Jackson Kong movie. I thought it was really good. Like a lot of people panned it. They said it was too long, this and that. I thought the pacing was fine. I thought it was really cool that they had like dinosaurs in it. The special effects were amazing. The story I thought was compelling. I thought it was a good movie, and people kept panning that one. That was probably, trying to be objective and just looking at it in terms of like film craft. It was probably one of the best kaiju movies made in years. And then I really liked Pacific Rim, and then Shin Godzilla blew everything out of the water. But like,
yeah, I was really hyped for Kong 05 back when it came out. Like I was all in. I think that was my first. It was like a first or second semester of college, and I was like, I remember, like my poor roommate. Had to deal with me bringing home like 2 bags of the Playmates Kong toys they put out, and like just like they were all stacked up in the corner of my dorm room and stuff. It was a whole thing. But now I have over here, I have the big Skull Island playset they put out that has like a log bridge that you can shake. It's got a little sacrificial spot for Ann Darrow.
That's so cool.
Pit you can put all the big bugs in.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, Matt, what's your favorite kaiju of all time?
Oh Jesus. I don't know. Hold on.
We'll let him think about that, and I'll catch up on the comments here quick. Steve says, where'd it go? Oh, Kong just wants a friend. Let's see. Dirk says Godzilla is the good guy with a gun.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing it.
On Facebook says, I like the duality of the mammalian brain versus lizard brain. They're great monsters.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me think when people are referring to like a baser thought that you have, they call it your lizard brain, don't they? So by that, wouldn't Kong be quote unquote smarter than?
I mean, he functionally. I hesitate to say that that Godzilla is necessarily not as smart as Kong. Godzilla just operates more on pure instinct, and but he's still pretty smart. But Kong just has tool usage, and I would say Kong maybe is more clever than Godzilla. So he probably sees the situation and thinks or tries to get around it, whereas Godzilla is like, well, if I can keep hitting this thing, eventually it's gonna break. But Godzilla also can pull weird powers out of his ass, like that time he got Magneto powers when he was fighting Mechagodzilla and was like pulling Mechagodzilla out of the sky with magnetized powers. Everybody forgets about that.
Yeah, so King Kong in this movie, everyone points out like, oh, King Kong can use tools. I'm like, great, maybe he can use himself now.
Oh shit!
Roasted.
But yeah, if I had to pick a
parties.
yeah, if I had to say like one kaiju where I'm like, okay, but this is my boy, like this is my boy. Like I love Godzilla, I love Kong, I love everybody else, but if I had to pick one, it would be Gamera.
Oh, Gamera, interesting.
Gamera.
Now, Gamera to me is an underdog because like Gamera is like got his real hardcore followers, and I almost feel bad for them because it's like, you know, like they're like but Gamera is like pretty cool too. Like I don't have any beef with Gamera. Gamera's all right. I like Gamera. That's cool.
That's the thing is nobody has beef with Gamera because he's just a nice guy.
Gamera, yeah, he's like you want Gamera to win one. You know, you really do. Yeah. Like Gamera should get one. You know.
Well, I mean, I worked on. I really fell back in love with Gamera because I worked on the Arrow box set that they came out with, and I deep dove into the lore and into like the history of the character, and I came out the other side, and I'm like, I fucking love Gamera. He's just so great, and his no joke. Those four Gamera movies, I should say, from the 90s and 2000s, those are four of the greatest monster movies ever made. Like, the new stuff coming out's great, like, it's fun, but Guardian of the Universe, Attack of the Legion, Revenge of Iris, and Gamera the Brave are, like, super legit. Like, those are so good.
Did those come out, like, in the 80s, like, mid-80s?
Late
80s.
There were 3 in the 90s, and then one more in 2006.
So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. There was the director from one of those, like that Gamera series, also made one Godzilla movie, and right, and that Godzilla movie, I forget which one is it. Do you remember?
G&K, Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That movie is so good. They made Godzilla the biggest dick in that movie. He is such an asshole. Like he goes at, like there's a scene. I was laughing so fucking hard. Like he is just vicious to these monsters. First of all, like he like beats the shit out of Anguirus, and then there's like a news helicopter flying around and filming them, and then Godzilla, like after he defeats this monster, takes it and like drop kicks it into the helicopter. Like he didn't even need to. He's just being a dick. And then there's another time too. There's a scene where where Godzilla's like rumbling in the background, and it shows us like lone girl in a hospital room with her leg up in a cast, and she's screaming, she's crying. She goes, oh my god, Godzilla! And then Godzilla starts coming closer to her, and she goes, oh my god! She starts freaking out, and then you think like, shit, what's gonna happen? It's like following this girl for like a solid minute. And then Godzilla, right at the last minute, turns and misses the hospital. And then she's like, has a sigh of relief. And then all of a sudden, Godzilla's tail comes in, whack, knocks the hospital down, boom, kills everyone.
So good. So good. GMK is my favorite Godzilla movie. And I say that on no uncertain terms. And the thing is, I recently rewatched that for my birthday. Kasten, my assistant in the comments, who's currently roasting me and everything I love, she rented out a theater for me and like a very small group of people to watch GMK on a big screen. It's the first time I've ever seen it on a big screen, and I didn't realize how funny that movie is. Like it is also like the original King Kong versus Godzilla. It's a comedy, but it's like a dark comedy, like a pitch black comedy, where it's just I would compare it to something like Shaun of the Dead, where it's like a horror comedy almost. Because I mean, people are dying in awful ways in this movie, but the movie's also kind of like, oh, that sucks. Anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, here's more Godzilla.
It's what, Lori?
I said anyway, and here's more Godzilla.
Yeah,
like he just kills the little girl and then moves.
Godzilla too in that movie. like he does this thing where it's unusual. Like so he'll be walking past some smokestacks, and then he'll like kind of veer and turn, and then like hit the smokestack. So he went out of his way to hit those smokestacks. Whereas like most Godzilla movies, it's incidental. He's just walking. He's a big beast, and he's crushing things around him. In this Godzilla movie, he's like, no, fuck your smokestacks. Like, things over.
Yeah, that movie is very much like I remember one of the best scenes in the movie is he's kind of walking along. He's just smashing stuff. And there are these people running out into a parking lot. And there's this one obnoxious woman who was already like she was shopping for eggs or something. And this guy runs in with a megaphone. He's like, Godzilla's outside, everybody fucking run. And she is all like, Godzilla? Who cares about Godzilla? Like, what I like about that movie is that they establish that in this universe, no one cares about Godzilla anymore, because the only Godzilla attack in this universe was in 1954. And this is the first time he's showing up in like 40, 50 years. So through that time, everyone stopped caring. So, which is also art of cinema. It's a metaphor for how Japan views the events of World War II, which is the text of the movie. Anyway, they all run outside. She runs outside, turns to Godzilla, and screams particularly loudly and particularly obnoxiously. Godzilla stops, turns, looks at the parking lot, and he goes, and he just blows her.
Yep.
That woman, fuck her in particular.
Yeah, so good. It feels so satisfying.
I hope the new Godzilla's like this, because I like this version. Yeah, that would be great.
Want angry Godzilla. Balance of nature shit.
We're behind on the comments again, so I'm gonna just read them off for you here quickly. Katie says Godzilla looks like he would have a smaller brain-to-body ratio than Kong. Caston coming in to say, Matt, intelligent and instinct is the exact opposite of intelligence.
Oh, hurtful.
Jensen says Kong can learn quicker, which I don't know. Can he?
Those all are true. Those are all true facts. It's just that the thing with Godzilla is that we don't really know how smart he is, because one of the things that makes a kaiju is we don't really know everything about them. Mm-hmm. They're literally, the word kaiju means mysterious beast. Mysterious or strange or unquantifiable. So Godzilla's intelligence level varies from movie to movie. Like sometimes he's just a wall of destructive energy, and other times he's like making plans with Gorosaurus. It's like, okay, how are we going to take King Ghidorah? And it's like, all right, well, you go around, you kangaroo kick him with that weird move you do, and which is a thing that happened.
Sweet.
But Sarah, if you were to get into Godzilla, well, what are the things that when you watch a movie of this stripe, what are the sort of things you look for?
Oh hell, I don't even know. I mean, I don't care so much about the technical quality of them. So those, the B movies are totally fine, because that's what your imagination's for. I guess I like action. I like good story. So I mean, if it's I like a good story that makes sense, because there's just too many movies out there that you watch a movie and you're going, what the fuck is even going on?
I mean, that to me is a lot of recent stuff, like the Jurassic World movies, especially the second one, Fallen Kingdom. That movie, that's not a movie. It's a series of scenes made for a trailer. And then they were like, oh shit, we have to write a script now. Like, that's what that movie is.
I haven't watched it. My nephew wanted me to go watch it. He wanted me to take him to the theater to see them, and I just couldn't. We couldn't make it work. And then he was like, "But you got to come down and sit and watch it with me," because they have a giant ass TV in there. And so I was like, "Okay," and it never happened. So because he loves Chris Pratt, so that's why those Jurassic World movies he wanted me to come watch with him, and I just haven't made it happen yet.
Well, Lori, then same question to you. What are you looking for in movies of this stripe? Because I'm not sure about your Godzilla experience either.
I've been trying to think of a way to word how I feel. So like I'll use Pacific Rim as an example.
This is safe space.
I'll use Pacific Rim as an example. I really like the kaiju part of Pacific Rim, but there are some fucking terrible one-liners in that like aren't so bad that they're funny. They're just shitty dialogue. And that kind of like pulled me out of the movie and just annoyed. Like Idris Elba has bad lines. Like what?
Oh, I love Idris Elba's lines.
I love Idris Elba, but like some of the writing is just so bad that like it killed it for me a little bit. So like that's the main thing for me.
Well, what could he possibly say that would come out cheesy? Like it's fucking Idris Elba. Like
Pacific Rim's
for colonoscopy, and I would probably be like, oh, that was so.
What? Hold on.
You need to repeat that.
I need to go change my pants now. What? Oh, I said Idris Elba could. What did I say? Idris Elba need to go get a colonoscopy. That's what I said, and I would be
I saw Pacific Rim as. Laura, you gonna be okay?
Yeah, sorry.
I saw Pacific Rim as being what it was, which was a live action anime. It was including like kind of a weird dub translation because I really like Del Toro as a filmmaker. I think that sometimes he directs his actors in a slightly weird way because he is also like, and I don't want to cast aspersions, but English is not his first language, and that makes me wonder, how does that affect his directing style? Because I think he can draw emotions out of people really excellently. I love Shape of Water. Yeah. I love all of the movies of his I've seen. But some of the times his actors will deliver these lines, and I'm like, that's an odd choice. But if this was in Japanese or in Spanish, I wouldn't blink. I wouldn't bat an eye. So, because Spanish and Mexican storytelling tropes sometimes line up really well with Japanese storytelling tropes, which I think is one of the reasons why there's such a strong contingent of anime and kaiju fans that run in those communities. I mean, they were having giant public outdoor screenings of new episodes of Dragon Ball Super, and they're like hundreds of people all screaming and like, yeah. So I'm just like, man, America's garbage. There are outdoor screenings of anime.
Caston said, why do humans love to see mass murder? If anything, it's evidence of why humanity is a giant twat waffle. Seems like it belongs in that general area.
It's cathartic. It's cathartic when it's not happening to us.
You know, Lori, I want to say, well, for me, to answer that question is I identify most with Godzilla and Godzilla movies. Like I think I was asked a while back by a friend. She was like trying to understand Godzilla, and she's like, the acting sucks in the movies. Like, why do you watch these movies? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Godzilla's a great actor. And she's like, oh, you identify with Godzilla? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And she goes, if you had a chance to be Godzilla, and she didn't even finish the question. I'm like, yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat, I would forsake all my friends and family, everyone I've ever known, everything. If I could like forget them as well and just be Godzilla, done. You don't even have to finish the sentence. Whatever the curse is, I'm on. Like, Godzilla to me, you know, the human elements in many of these movies, and Lori, to what you were saying about Pacific Rim and the bad dialogue in some of these movies, and Matt, I think you have a point. There's a loss in translation there, but to me, the human element is almost like like chips and salsa. You know, like the chips are kind of like a vessel to eat salsa. And
it's a really good point.
Yeah, and that's what the humans are in Godzilla. It's like a vessel for you to get to Godzilla. It's like, okay. Just tell me the jargon again of why Godzilla's here. Got it. And then the military's going to drop a bomb. It's not going to work. Okay, cool. Let's get to the fight. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why. And I will often argue, though, I just think that there are different styles. I think that the genre is so varied in so many different ways that you can have a really compelling human narrative, like I said earlier, especially with some of the older movies. Because one of the ways that So back in the 60s, when they were first making kaiju movies and they were first figuring out the genre, one of the problems they ran into, and I'm mostly talking about Toho here, and specifically guys like the director Ishiro Honda, writer Shinichi Sekizawa, producer Tomiyuki Tanaka. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. When these guys were professionals. Like they wanted these movies to be good. And Honda especially, because what a lot of people don't know about Ishiro Honda is that he was a friend and co-director sometimes with Akira Kurosawa. Like Honda worked with Kurosawa, and whenever Kurosawa would hear that Honda was making a new movie, kaiju or otherwise, he would say, "Oh, if Honda's making it, it'll be good." And so one of the things that Honda was always pushing for, and as well as the screenwriters were, was, okay, we've done the monster shows up, military fights monster, monster goes away. We've done that like 4 times. Can we do something else? So what they started doing is they started taking plots of other genres and then just putting monsters in them. Like there's another Toho movie called Dogora the Space Monster. It was made almost the exact same time as Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. But Dogora is a diamond heist smuggling movie that then a space monster shows up because it eats diamonds. It eats carbon. And what a great idea for a movie. So you're following this like crazy diamond heist subplot, and then there's a space jellyfish that they have to kill with bee venom. Fuck you. And then you've got, again, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. That was the movie that brought Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah all together for the first time. That movie is a James Bond style international intrigue. There's a princess on the run that these guys are trying to assassinate her from her home country. Meanwhile, Godzilla and Rodan and Mothra and Ghidorah are all fighting. And there's this, and it's all entertaining. You're just along for the ride, and I'm never bored during these movies, during these older movies.
There's something interesting too about these Godzilla movies. If you're watching them with a critical eye and you care about this sort of thing, there's a lot of geopolitical commentary in these movies, especially in Shin Godzilla has some against like Chinese people and like Chinese, like there are several Godzilla movies where there's a very heavy-handed like nod towards like, oh, this monster represents China. One was Godzilla versus Hedorah, the sea monster, where the army, the bad guys' army in there were called the Red Dragons, and it was like as close as to saying like China's the bad guys they possibly could.
Oh, okay.
What would you say, Matt?
Oh no, I was confused for a second. Sea monster.
Sea monster.
Sea monster is the one.
Or not Hedorah. That's right. What's the monster?
Ebera,
yeah. The sea monster. So
the red bamboo.
What's that?
The red bamboo. Yeah,
they
really are.
It.
They're really coded to. You're right, though. They're really coded to look like the Chinese military. It's a little uncomfortable.
And in Shin Godzilla, they kind of throw some shade towards China because, like, Japan and China have not had like the traditional, like, best relationships due to wars and things. So they threw some shade towards China in Shin Godzilla, where there's a part in the movie where they've kind of like found a possible chemical solution to incapacitate Godzilla. And they're going through and saying, okay, everyone in the world is on board. South Korea is sending this many gallons of the chemical. The U.S. is sending this many thousands of gallons. South America, all these countries are sending gallons. And then they said, and China's going to send like 4 gallons, but they're going to charge for it. And it's like such a quick like throwaway line, but like every Japanese person, every Chinese person knows exactly what kind of fuck you that was to China, because like it's such a little like throwaway line, but they know it's like they put that in there intentionally. And then there's one in Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in 1991. This is one for the books. So Godzilla, Japan and America did not have very good relations in like 1989. In fact, so Godzilla versus King Ghidorah was basically a propaganda film. It was very anti-US. A lot of criticism of the U.S. military, U.S. government, all this shit. And it was so heavy-handed, in fact, that America wouldn't import, they wouldn't release this movie in America for years later. But then they finally did, and it is just a blast to watch. Matt, to your point, like them mixing genres, that movie is basically Terminator. And the director is like bitter because that movie kind of like, flopped and wasn't nearly as big as it could have been. And he blamed it on Steven Spielberg because I think, what was it, like Jurassic Park or something else came out that year?
No. Okay. So what I remember happening is Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah was a big hit. It was a giant hit in Japan.
In Japan, or like
Japan.
Not worldwide, right? In Japan, okay.
No. You're right. The Heisei Godzilla movies, the '90s Godzilla movies, took a long time to get released in the States.
Yeah.
They didn't get released until the 1998 Godzilla movie came out. But kitty. But everybody stop and look at the cat. The direct. So Jurassic Park came out in '92, I want to say. That was when Godzilla versus Mothra, the '90s version, came out. But that movie also did really good. I think the only one of the Heisei, I'm trying to remember which of the Heisei movies didn't do very well. Biollante didn't do very well, and Space Godzilla didn't do very well.
Right.
Biollante, yep.
Yeah, so I have here, I pulled up the Wikipedia about Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, and there's a whole section here on the controversy of it. It says the film was considered controversial at the time of its release, being contemporary to a period of economic tension between America and Japan, but mainly due to its fictional World War II depictions. Gerald Glabutz of the Pearl Harbor Survivors Association appeared alongside director Kazuki Omori in Entertainment Tonight and condemned the film as being very poor taste and detrimental to American and Japanese relations. Ishiro Honda also criticized Omori, stating that the scene in which Godzilla attacks and crushes American GIs went too far. You talk about heavy-handed. Conversely, conversely, Godzilla historian Stephen Reif said American media reports of supposed anti-Americanism weren't really thought-provoking or insightful. Omori has denied all such allegations. I mean, bullshit. You watch this movie; it is very anti. He goes happy about being Godzilla, being crushed and squished by Godzilla. He says the American extras were happy to be crushed by.
Well, I honestly could see a situation where that happens, and they're just so wrapped up in the movie they're making, because there is a not insignificant number of people who look at Shin Godzilla, and I'm saying Japanese people as well, who look at Shin Godzilla and see it as right-wing propaganda, because of just the movie is a conservative wet dream for small government. And I don't think Anno is necessarily, the director Anno, I don't think he's necessarily super conservative. I just think that he happens to swing along those lines sometimes. And again, I don't know the guy, so I can't speak to it. And I could see a situation where Omori made this movie and he's like, oh, this will be so cool because these American military guys in World War II are going to fight Godzilla before he becomes Godzilla back when he's just a dinosaur. And he's going to like step on him and crush him and stuff. And it'll be so cool. And then you have the American extras who are like, yeah, I want to get killed by Godzilla. I could totally see that happening. But I do agree. It's a little bit suspicious. It's a little sus that nobody, no, you know what? It's not. It's very rare that in the Japanese workplace for someone to be like, hey, boss, maybe don't do that. That's not a thing they do. They'll just be like, oh, well, the director said to do it. Well, let's do it. But I see, I trust me, you are correct though, that there was a lot of controversy. I remember seeing like news items about it and being like, I don't give a shit, just give me the goddamn movie. Like little like, how old was I in the early 90s? I must have been like 10, 11 years old or something. And I was just like, I don't give a shit about your stupid controversy. Give me a goddamn movie where the lizard is fighting the dragon and then the dragon comes back and the dragon's a robot now. So
there's the dialogue in that movie too is so ham-fisted. There's like a scene with like the U.S. generals talking to the troops like down on the floor, and he says like something like, "What? A giant dinosaur? Oh no! Blast him to smithereens!"
Take that, you dinosaur!
Yeah, take that, you dinosaur. That's the exact line.
Take that. That island needs scientists more than American military people.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so funny.
It's so good. I would kill someone in front of their own mother to meet those actors and get them to sign my copy of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. I want to meet every white guy in that movie and get him to sign my copy and be like, this is all I need. This is all I need in my life.
I'm trying to think of the person who would like agree to that wager. It's like, okay, you have to kill me in front of my mom, and then you get one signed copy of Godzilla Theater in 1991. Here you go.
Oh yeah, they know who they are. They know what they did.
We're gonna catch up here quick on some comments here. Merc said, make Godzilla like a bearded dragon where he head bobs to display dominance. That'd be interesting.
All right, hold on. Let me do it. Hold on. I'm going to create that for you right now. Ow, fuck. It really hurt. Hold on. Oh, wait. This little chin guard is down. Okay, there it is. It was like digging into my skull. I could just be like but I don't have like a neck flap. I'd have to be like, there. There's your Godzilla theater.
So Paul showed up like 20 minutes ago and said hi.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Paul wants your crown, Maddox.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just got it at a party store, so.
So not hard to find.
I have so many crowns.
All the fucking party cities in the entire Midwest area are gone now. So
do you still have a throne too, Maddox? You still have one, right?
Yeah, it's like in my living room. I have my throne, and I have like crowns everywhere. I had guests over about a week ago, and the first time in like a year since like actual people have been over, like like people are taking vaccines and stuff. And they were like, "Wow, you got a lot of crowns," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Probably enough for everyone," and everyone put on a different crown. We just had like a crown party. Yeah.
I hope
That's
you took
awesome.
That's amazing.
Let's see here. Katie said, I've only seen 2 Godzilla movies. One was the Matthew Broderick one, and the other one was about 5 years ago. Can't remember which one. I love the design of the Godzilla in the Matthew Broderick movie.
I will say. Hold on. Where'd it go?
There's a Jay Leno fan.
A couple more here because Paul also said that, Lori, I love your poster behind you.
Oh, my pillow?
Yeah,
fucking
pillow.
Fucking fuck.
There was a gal. You know what? That is exactly what this gal I dated in high school used to say. fuck.
Like when the stream first started, I was like immediately like dropping F-bombs and S-bombs. Like I'm just like all over the place. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't ask if we can swear on the stream, and then I like realized Lori's pillow all throughout this thing. Like, we're probably good.
We're fine. Yeah.
So like. So this is the 1998 Godzilla. This is the one with the Matthew Broderick movie.
Oh, okay.
And I think that this design, he's supposed to be very these toys are made like much more upright to make him look more like Godzilla, but in the movie he walks more like a T-Rex. He's like almost completely horizontal because the director and the producer saw Jurassic Park and they're like, well, we want that. And if you watch the animated series they made about Godzilla 98, which that's back when they used to do that. They used to have a big movie and then you have an animated series. That TV show, he functions really well as Godzilla. Like they reworked him to be like really aggressive and have atomic fire and stuff. But in the movie, they took all that away. He doesn't have atomic breath. He gets taken out by like 5 or 6 missiles. And it speaks to the director and producer not just fundamentally misunderstanding the franchise, but not caring. Like they literally said, we're not doing this stupid rubber suit shit. Like we're not doing that. The Japanese movies are all garbage. We're Americans, so we're an American studio, so anything we make is going to be superior. That was the attitude of the movie.
And in fact, we read in the fan, like the compendium of Godzilla, that at one point, like they were showing the movie to test audiences, and one resounding criticism they continued to get was that Godzilla doesn't use his breath the entire movie. And finally, they added in post, like in another scene, just like kind of a breath where it's just like, you know, hot air or something. It's the
it's like methane.
Yeah, it's just, and because, you know, it was really hot at that time for every director to take whatever trope that they were working on and then like reinvent it. It was a vampire movie, but this time vampires, you think vampires can't cross rivers? Not in this vampire movie. Here are the new rules. And every director was doing that with every franchise, and it was so annoying.
Yeah, I mean that is the long and the short of it. I remembered the concept artist Patrick Atopolis, which is who I named Gina after. Heads up, Medusa fans. Patrick Atopolis, he was the concept artist, and he's like a legend in Hollywood. Like, he's worked on so many movies. He was the one who was charged with this redesigning Godzilla. And you can see in his concepts that he is trying to give it this very fluid, lizard-like, very aggressive quality to it. But he still, in all these concepts, has it like shooting like a laser out of its mouth, like this pinpoint atomic energy. And the director kept telling him, no, that's stupid. It's unrealistic. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what about any of this is realistic? Stop saying that. I'm so sick of people being like, it's not realistic. Eat my ass.
Like, for the last, I would say, like 15 years in Hollywood, almost, I think that maybe that was the start of it, but like there was this big movement in both film and TV to make things grounded. Every single note I got is like, make it grounded, make it grounded. And what they mean by that is make it plausible, make it steeped in reality, make it so that it could potentially exist. And that's why I think you've lost in television a lot of creativity. Like in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, the late 80s, every single sitcom had this crazy twist to it. It's like, oh, it's a normal family, but they have an alien living with them. It's Alf. Oh, it's a normal family, but they got Bigfoot living with them. Oh, it's a normal family, but they got an android daughter. It's like, you know, that maybe they went a little too far in that direction, but we don't see that ever anymore. Like, every movie has to be, you know, from superhero movies like Chronicle to, you know, kaiju movies, like even Pacific Rim, like they're all kind of like grounded. Whereas Godzilla movies, you hit the ground running. Nobody gives a shit. Where'd Godzilla come from? The fucking mountain. Okay, let's move on. Like, it's not, who cares? We don't need to, like, the whole backstory every single time.
Right. It kind of actually, like, Zack Snyder. I mean, I'm not going to, you know, just going to put that out there. Like, it's grounded and gritty. The gritty thing, like I mean that's a trend too. Yeah, there's a lot of grittiness in a lot of movies. I don't know. I think it's time. I think it's time the pendulum swung back the other way. I would love to see a very bright and colorful anything. You know, like Fortnite, the video game, I think was hugely popular, not just because of the style of gameplay it was, but it's a very bright and fun and cheery game to look at. Everything is green and blue skies, and it's a place you want to spend time in.
Right. I think that I think it just depends on the story you're trying to make and what works for the medium, what works for what you're trying to tell. If you take everything and reduce it to this handful of buzzwords that a bunch of producers hear when they're all snorting cocaine off each other's buttholes, you have to, you've got to reel it in sometimes, because like the Godzilla reboot from 2014, that is a movie where it's not trying to be realistic. It's trying to be believable. It's trying to take this wild setup of a giant monster and these other giant monsters fighting in a city. But Gareth Edwards is a master of camera placement and making you feel like what you're looking at is happening. Whereas compared to something like Godzilla vs. Kong, just based on the trailers and stuff, I'm looking at this and I'm like, it looks colorful. It looks wild. It looks like once you get to Godzilla versus Kong, I feel like you need to just take all of this pretension of realism and you need to just throw it out the window and just have fun. And because I mean, even with King of the Monsters, the last Godzilla movie, that one has a lot of really fun stuff in it. I think the soundtrack is amazing, but the movie is so obsessed with trying to mask everything in rain and smoke and haze that as a result you don't really get a good look at what's going on. Like there was one scene where it took me a while to realize that Godzilla had been knocked into a chasm by Ghidorah, and then he had climbed back out and had puffed up to challenge him, and there's just this moment where he's just like, ah, like he just like, come at me. And it took me 2 or 3 times watching the movie to realize that's what he was doing, because there was so much shit in the screen. And then I'm just like, can we not? You don't have to do that. You can have a little bit if you want to create an atmosphere, but you're obscuring your action at this point. But maybe it's also cheaper to do that. I don't know.
Well, so the thing I liked the most about Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in 1991 is that you had these real, just clean shots of Godzilla walking on one side and King Ghidorah walking towards them. And they're just like kind of like these giant monsters. And you get to like breathe in the set a little bit. It doesn't look like, totally fake, not totally realistic, but it's like, it sells it. And it's such a classic scene, seeing these 2 big titans walking to each other. It's not a tight shot of either one of them. And I miss that. I miss like, just, all right, let's just take it in. You don't have to have all this like smokes and mirrors and bullshit. Like, I don't need that. I don't need, just give me the big guys.
Yeah, that was something I was sorely missing from Godzilla 2014, is that there's very little in the way of like glamour shots of Godzilla. Like, he's this giant, super expensive CGI model that they paid all this money to make. You can't just give me a couple of wide shots of him, like,
yeah,
not until the very end.
You know what drives me fucking batshit about American Godzilla movies versus the Japanese ones? It's
Godzilla!
Speaking of Godzilla, in the American Godzilla movie, the Japanese Godzilla movies, like, starts out sometimes before the credits even on screen, you're looking at Godzilla. It's like, boom, fucking monster, cool. In American Godzilla movies, they like fucking tease you the whole time. It's like giving you Godzilla blue balls. Like, oh my God, when are we going to reveal the monsters? Like, we know what he looks like. We've seen the toys. The toys are out on the shelves before the movie even comes out. So just give us Godzilla. Stop. It's not a surprise. I'm not a child. Like, I've seen Godzilla before. All I want is more Godzilla. Like, in fact, double it. Whatever amount of Godzilla you have now, double it.
They're trying to take that horror movie model of don't show the bad guy too soon thing, but it's like, we already fucking know we already know. So just don't treat us like we're idiots.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like there is an art to holding back, but it's only, again, it's when it's called for. Like the build up to Godzilla showing up in 2014, I think that it works to a certain extent. Like the specific scene in Honolulu where the Muto bug creature has knocked out, because it has this EMP ability and it knocks out all the power in the area. And so the lights are all slowly coming back on. Meanwhile, this tidal wave comes in because Godzilla is coming. And it's the slow build up to him slowly coming. Like, you see his fins coming out of the water. And granted, this is also the first time we've seen Godzilla since. This is the first time there's been a Godzilla movie in 10 years. The last Godzilla movie was Final Wars in 2004. So then all the way to 2014, it's a 10-year gap. So you really want to build it up and make it special. And again, I think Edwards is a great scene director. He can really build up, and you've got this, just the way the camera moves in that sequence, it's all really good. But then once you show Godzilla, give us Godzilla. Like I even don't mind the cutaway gag. They do the thing where they build up, he roars, and then they cut away. I thought that worked once. You can do that joke once. Then you need to give us Godzilla. It's like, okay, but anyway.
Well, we had a few here. Let's see. Jensen said that back to the previous point about wanting things to be relatable by making them real. And Katie, where did it go? Katie, I saw you say something about missing where the hell did it go? Miss the 80s fantasy movies because they had so little grounding at all. Which I agree with. Caston says, Matt, are you getting hangry or getting very passionate?
6 of one, half dozen of another. I'm gonna need some tacos after this.
You go for some tacos after this. So, well, we're like out of time now. So, we're gonna talk really quick here. Lori, do you want to give us a quick update on UHS stuff happening? Do we have anything happening right now? Like, at a pause spot here with the Kickstarter that we just finished.
Yeah, we just finished Elsewhere 2. We're fulfilling, I'm sending the orders off to the printer. All of that's happening. The Surgeon issue 4. You guys are hearing it here first, actually. We're going to be kickstarting that in a couple weeks. And I think that's it.
You guys have been doing such a great job with those comics, by the way, Lori. Like, I get those packages, and I'm blown away by the quality of these things. They're just incredible. If you guys haven't checked them out, you got to do that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I should add, it's uhstudios.com or uhstudios.com/Kickstarter. You can see our last Kickstarter campaign. You can actually pre-order the book still. If you're interested, you can kind of look through all our projects and all our books. And yeah.
Are you still doing the metal cards, or is that like a stretch giveaway?
Yeah. No, everyone for Elsewhere or just in general?
Just in general, yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
He's
got
them.
They're so good.
There's mine. Wait.
Oh, really so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
That's cool. Love it.
And Matt, you're super talented. It's such an honor. We've like talked about some of your comics on our Godzilla podcast.
Thank you.
Blown away. It's just it's an honor. Thank you guys so much for having me on this, and I'd love to.
Thank you for coming, and thank you too, Matt. And again, thank you for letting us use that art. That if anybody was here to catch the opening credits there, the countdown, that was Matt's big Godzilla versus Kong thing. Then and it's fucking awesome. You should go and look at the whole thing all together. Or he'll I'm working on
I'm working on a new one right now. If you can sort of see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh cool.
Yeah. It's been really hard to get it done though, because like I said, I have so many deadlines all hitting at once. I got one done last night, so I'm down to 2. But no, this was a blast. I really appreciate it. Maddox is great to be on mic, be on camera with you. This was a lot of fun. My wife and I are big fans as well. I have to check out your podcast. I've got a podcast too called the Giganticast. We just did a review of Monster Hunter. It was bad, and
shocker.
And I did it with a bunch of Monster Hunter fans, so we're gonna tell you why it's bad.
Oh boy.
And then I'm just super happy that we were able to do this. I don't know if I have anything to plug at the moment. I did just work with Topps on their new Godzilla thing they're doing. Something to do with, I don't know if they're physical cards or digital cards. I'm a little fuzzy on those details, but I just posted on Twitter about those. I think if you call around your local comic shop, hold on, where are they? Whatever. My Marvel Ultraman cover should be available for Trials of Ultraman, but you got to call around and see if anybody's got the variant.
Your Instagram is Mattzilla85, if I remember right.
That is correct.
I don't know why I remember that one personally. Like I've tagged you like 1,000 times now, so I remember that one. But yeah, so anybody who wants to go and check out more of your stuff can go Instagram and
Maddox. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Max, what is the name of your podcast?
It's called Godzilla versus Podcast Zero, and it's named after our favorite Godzilla movie, because my co-host and I, we'd been friends for years and years, and I didn't realize she was such a huge Godzilla fan. So until we went to the movie, the Bryan Cranston Godzilla, we went to that together, and I looked at her phone, and we both had the same desktop background of Godzilla, and I'm like, holy shit! And we both like the same Godzilla movies. So we started doing it, and we'd love to have you on, Matt. Like, it would be such an honor.
Oh, I would be absolutely thrilled. We'll make it happen.
Matt, check this out, dude. I've been following you for years. Actually, I followed your account like a long time ago.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Yeah, I've been following you because so my Instagram has been like so perfectly curated to me. Like Instagram like knows what I like. It's nothing but like booty thirst traps, and Godzilla. So,
No, I can relate to that. I can really relate. What Oh, that's weird. I don't have internet for some reason. I'll check this later, but I'll follow you back.
Great. Yeah, we'd love to have you on, and Lori and Sarah too. If you guys want to get into this vibe, let's have you on. It would be a blast.
Hell yeah.
We need to watch. I need to catch up and watch some of these. So I'm looking for that recommendation list from Matt so we can
copy everybody. Copy everybody.
I will work on that. All I need to do is I need to go find that Discord post. Because I have reasonings for each one of them, and this is why you like this one. This is why you like this one. This is why you like this one. So perfect. I will find that.
Awesome. So Maddox, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything upcoming? Give us your social media deets.
Yeah, let's just do Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, Godzilla vs. Podcast Zero is my Godzilla podcast, which we're gonna record a new episode for Godzilla vs. King Kong. And then my Twitch streams, which my nephew Banana Docs and Uncle Oxmad do every week. They're a cowboy and a banana, so check that out.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
And give Laguna extra pets because several people mentioned Laguna's showing up on the stream here. I love that you have the one cat. I have a fucking 1,000 cats around here, and they never come over here. Have
one of these.
He's always up in your face.
One of these days, I'll get my dog on camera, and she'll look sad, and then go lay down. The greyhounds always look sad. They're just big, sad horses, tiny, sad horses.
They don't look as sad as basset hounds, though. Basset hounds always look very sad. So their face is made of folds. It's like a fitted sheet for a bed. So, all right. Wow.
On that note.
We're all so we caught up on everything going on for everybody. So I guess that was it. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you Maddox and Matt, and thanks to Mike Watson who is possibly still streaming. I could go double check here. If he's still streaming, you should go watch his Chat and Draw. If you don't got anything else to do after this, definitely go check Chat and Draw out and tell him we sent you. And yeah, any parting thoughts before we click the end button?
Thank you guys for having me. It's been an honor. So nice to talk to you guys. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. And realism is overrated.
And on that note, goodbye.